Hello traders, this is Jim Comiskey coming to you live from ADM Investor Services. It is currently Thursday at about 2 o'clock, Thursday the 5th at about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm here to give you some color on the metals complex amongst other things. First of all, the opinions that I'm about to voice are mine and mine alone and are not necessarily shared by ADM Investor Services, okay? Although they should be. The gold is currently up $16 to $16.3170, $16.3480 the high, $16.2070 the low. Silver is at $31.72, that's up 68 cents. $31.17.5 is the low, $31.81 the high. Give you support and resistance quickly, and then we'll move on. Okay. First of all, the first resistance in the gold comes in at 1636.60, above that 1659.10. Pivot or first support, what comes in at 1624, below that 1602 and 1589. Pivot in the silver, 3157, which will act as first support. Okay, resistance comes in 3217 and 3228. First support, well, below the pivot of 3157 comes in at 3047. Below that, 2987. An interesting email, someone sent it to me. They've noticed that a lot of times the support and resistance levels are extremely far apart, and sometimes they're really narrow. The pivot formula is basically based on yesterday's range. Okay, it's the high plus the low plus the close divided by 3. So if the day prior had a really big range, okay, you're going to have very wide support and resistance levels, which makes logical sense, right? But that was a good email. I really appreciated that. Good observation. Okay, let's move on. Okay, first of all, unemployment this is one time of the year, the one day of the year, Good Friday, where we actually have a civilian unemployment, an unemployment tape bomb, and the markets are virtually closed. Okay, the Bureau of Labor Statistics really needs to think about this one. They need to either move this number up to today's release, the Thursday prior, okay, to Good Friday, or push it out another week. But it could make for some incredibly ballistic moves in the markets tomorrow, because there will be very few participants to stand in the way of size sell orders or buy orders. Okay, so beware of that. Now, let me give you hours really quick, because certain things are open, very few. Okay, on Globex. First of all, equities. The equity indexes, okay, by S&P, Dow, and the NAS, are open till 8:15 Central only. Now, this unemployment number comes out 45 minutes prior to that. That's what I mean. It could be absolutely crazy for 45 minutes. Okay. Now, the only other commodities, quote unquote, that are open after that would be 10:15 closes for the currencies. Okay, on Globex, and interest rates also on Globex. They close at 10:15 Central. Everything else is shut down. Metals are shut down. Energies are shut down. Okay, those are the only things that are open now. Indexes, foreign exchange, and interest rates. And they're abbreviated sessions at that. All right, for what it's worth, okay, because we could get some crazy moves on unemployment. All right, this number is out for March, okay? We're expecting non-farm to come in at between 180 and 239,000, depending upon the recipe that the BSBLS used last month in estimating this survey. Okay, the unemployment rate, we're looking for it to come in at 8.3%, unched from last. Private payrolls, we're looking for basically a consensus of an increase in jobs of about 230,000. Last was 224,000. Look for, one of the reasons why the rate keeps dropping the way it is, and everyone from Helicopter Ben on down over at the Fed is just, they can't believe, they're amazed that this rate is dropping so much. It's called the birth-death formula, the birth-death rate. Basically, as some unnamed statistician in BLS, okay, Bureau of Labor Statistics, estimated that, remember, 2 months ago, 1.2 million people just dropped out of the workforce. Okay, so now your pool shrinks. Okay, but your number of jobs basically increase small. So the rate goes down. It's not that hard to figure out, guys. Okay, so, you know, this number is artificially dropped, in my humble opinion. Okay, let me move on quickly. First of all, I want you to all get out your calendars here. This is kind of important stuff, and no one's talking about it yet. Okay, Moody's, this is courtesy of Zero Hedge. Moody's made an announcement this morning that there are 114 banks that are on review for downgrade, okay, across 16 countries, okay, and they announced a date as to when the conclusion of these reviews are going to occur, and they're going to float the results. All right, this could be really big stuff, guys. In fact, you know how stocks, in many people's opinions, are held up by basically by the Federal Reserve, okay? This could be the catalyst that really is the tipping point for indexes here, and hence maybe the metals, okay? All right, now a downgrade to these banks, first of all, would raise their borrowing costs. Okay, it could lead to an MF global moment. In other words, you know, everyone's scrambling for excess reserves to meet sudden margin calls. Okay, panic selling. All right, let me proceed here. I want to get this out. I'll probably end up doing another 10 minutes after this. Okay, this is important stuff. Italian banks. Moody's will conclude their review by the week of April the 16th. Okay, the Italian banks. Spanish banks, the week of April 23rd. Austrian banks, the week of April 30th. German banks, the week of May 7th. Luxembourg banks, May 7th. Belgian, May 7th. Dutch, Norway, Swedish banks, all the week of May 7th. Okay, firms, this would be U.S. now, firms with global capital markets operations, May the 14th. French, May the 14th. UK, Danish, Finnish, all the week of May 14th. Okay, so we could get a real blast of downgrades to some of the biggest banks in the world. Okay, and again, this all starts week of April the 16th. Okay, so lock and load. Prepare for that one. What do we got here? Oh, this is a good one. Remember we talked a couple days ago about Lisa Jackson basically issuing a new climate regulations that, in other words, what they boil down to is that there will probably, if these regulations stay on the books, there'll probably never be another new coal plant made. Okay, and right now the U.S. coal to electric. Okay, the U.S. currently derives just under 50% of its electricity from coal-fired plants. All right, think about this. What is the price of electricity going to do? Yeah, it's going to soar. Okay, over time. If this regulation stands, let me just read this to you. Okay, the head of the United Mine Workers Union of America, no less. Okay, Cecil Roberts. He has gone on record now as saying that the coal industry will suffer the same fate as Osama bin Laden under new climate regulations proposed by the EPA this week. The Navy SEALs shot Osama bin Laden in Pakistan, and Lisa Jackson shot us in Washington. President Cecil Roberts, president of the powerful union, said during an interview on a West Virginia radio station. Okay, he blasted Jackson, the EPA administrator, over the proposed regulations which would limit greenhouse gas emissions from new power plants. Opponents of the regulations, including Roberts, say the new rules would be the death knell of the coal industry. It's all about jobs, 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 isn't it? I don't think so. I think that's all about just bullshit headlines. Okay, this is boots on the ground stuff. Watch the language. My apologies. I didn't mean that. I meant BS. Okay, I'm going to continue here. By the way, this is courtesy of thehill.com. Okay, new coal-fired plants will have to install technology to capture carbon dioxide emissions in order to comply with these rules. The technology, get this, known as carbon capture and storage, CCS, is not commercially available, Roberts said. This rule is an all-out decision by the EPA that we're never going to have another coal-fired facility in the United States that's constructed. All about jobs, jobs, jobs. Have a good one, dude. Happy Easter. Sorry. Robert's comments underscore the vehement opposition to the new EPA regulations in coal states whose economies rely heavily on the fossil fuel. The rules will require new power plants that burn fossil fuels to release no more than 1,000 pounds of carbon dioxide per megawatt hour. Environmental groups have cheered the regulations, with Sierra Club Executive Director Michael Brune noting that it will make it nearly impossible to build a new coal plant. Okay. So again, just it's like 48% of all electricity produced in the United States, okay, is basically derived from coal power plants, coal burning power plants. Okay, what is going to happen to the cost of electricity going forward? Well, it ain't about jobs. It's about single-handedly some person. You know, Obama going on a rant about the Supreme Court being unelected. You know what? Lisa Jackson was unelected, wasn't she? And she just basically killed an industry if this regulation stands on the books. I'm getting too worked up, okay, so I'll let you guys go. But if you'd like to get in touch with me, I really appreciate the emails and all the comments, guys. Keep them coming, okay? My toll-free 888-935-7979 or my outside line 242-7996. My email address, jim.comiskey@archerfinancials.com. Okay, look forward to hearing from you. All right, you know, if you'd like to work with me, just get a hold of me in either of these ways. Okay, I probably will not broadcast tomorrow. Okay, but if I do not, have a wonderful holiday. To my Jewish friends, happy Passover. To everybody else, happy Easter. Take care, guys.